Hey, good morning. Rick Brown here with the Inside Scoop of the Brown Home Group. I am sitting to my right, the infamous Donald Morris with Security National Title. We're excited, Don, for you to be here today.
Thanks for inviting me.
I know some of these kind of things are a little weird, but really want to first thank you for being one of our preferred vendors. And you come in, you speak to my team and talk about the title process is what we're going to do today. And I felt like this is a great opportunity to have you a platform to speak to people out there in Facebook world. And so this is our season 1, episode 2 of the Inside Scoop of the Brown Home Group. So Don, why don't you go ahead and and guys, just so you see up on the back of the screen, Security National is actually located right here in Waterford Lakes, Lake Underhill. It's actually on this floor at the Keller Williams location at 12301 Lake Underhill Road. Don's phone number is 407-267-7371, and his email address is up there as well. That being said, why don't you take over and tell us a little bit about you and your business and how you got started and all that good stuff. I know you're a surfer by trade.
Yeah, and there were waves this weekend, so I spent a lot of time.
There were or there weren't?
There were.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah, I spent a lot of time in the water this weekend. So Rick, I really appreciate the opportunity to work with you and also to sit here with you and go over your, I guess, second episode.
Yeah.
I appreciate the opportunity you provided as far as providing a business for me as well.
Mm-hmm.
So a little bit about myself. Again, my name is Donald Morris. I work with Security National Title. Been in the title business for about 10 years. Initially, when I got into the title business, I had a partner in Brevard County, and he was 2008, 2009, the market was really flat. So we were doing some loan modifications, and I partnered with him and brought him into the business so that he could make some money. And in doing that, he gave me half the title company. So that was Foundation Title, and I worked for Foundation Title for probably 7 years. So I learned the title process trial by fire. But I'm a licensed title agent. Work in the state of Florida. Been in Orlando for about 15 years, and
you have a background in the military too, right? Where you?
Yes, I was a corpsman in the Navy, and I was stationed with Camp Lejeune. So because they don't have a medical corps in the Marines, as a Navy corpsman, I served with the Marines in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina.
Well, thank you for your service, first off, and to anybody else that's serving or has served. We again thank you for your service.
So, like I said, the company was not doing well. Well, no companies were doing well at the time. The market was flat as far as real estate. So we started doing loan modifications together. He gave me half the business. So we started in Orlando. So opened an office here and just worked title. Probably about 2.5 years ago, I was approached by Robert Palmer, and he was starting a title company at the time. So he acquired my company, became RP Title. So worked for Robert for about a year, maybe a little less than a year, and then he decided that he wanted to be an agent, so we had to split. So now I work for Security National. Paul Manilov is the owner and attorney, counseling attorney, so we do have an attorney owner. And so I've been working for Security National for about 1.5 years now. Really enjoy the company. Plowman is a good boss. He's let me run the Waterford Lakes office, so I pretty much manage the office here in Waterford Lakes.
And how many employees do you have in your office?
Right now we have 3 employees in the office. Myself, supposed to be a marketer, but I prefer processing.
Right.
Nobody can process like I do. So
there you go.
In the instead of trying to find someone to process, just taking it over myself. So you don't see me out marketing very much. I need to get more of that going, but right now I just it's hard to find somebody to replace yourself. So
right.
I do a lot of, and I love processing. I love title.
Yeah.
So it's one of my passions.
So if you guys have questions out there, don't hesitate to just shout them out there on Facebook Live. And Blaine, my partner in crime back there, who's running the camera, he'll let me know what those questions are, or he'll shout them out to us that maybe Don can answer. Or if it's a real estate question, obviously we're here for that as well. So Don, tell me, I know a lot of people, looking maybe to sell and are a little scared so far as the process and how that works. You want to kind of maybe explain a little bit about how the title process does work?
Sure. Just to piggyback off of Rick's statement before, if you have any title-related questions, you've got my contact information on the screen back there. So I'm available to answer any questions that you may have. Now, as far as the title process, we've got a pretty defined process. I would say it stands out amongst other title companies. We've got employees that really care, and just having caring employees, you can teach them your process. Just they have to have that the caring piece. Now, initially, when we get a contract, so the agents work with sellers and buyers and come up with contracts. So once we get the contract, we reach out to both agents, and in the process of reaching out, we get their commission percentage as well as brokerage fee. Once I have that, I send the preliminary ALTA settlement statement out to both agents so that they can.
What's a preliminary ALTA statement?
So the ALTA settlement statement is a breakdown of fees that come in for real estate. So we have our fees, and then we add the agent fees, and then once we have that together, we send that out to the agents so that we're not scrambling the last minute as far as finding out that the brokerage fee's wrong, commission's wrong. So we do that in the beginning of the process as well as reaching out to buyers and sellers.
Okay.
Now, as far as the real estate market right now, I'm seeing a lot of interest rates that are in the low threes. I didn't think that would ever come back again, but a lot of the closings that I've had lately are in the low threes. And if you're looking for a lender, Rick has some relationships with lenders, so make sure you reach out to him prior to making an offer on a property, and also use Rick to make any offers on your property.
Yeah, for sure. So, based on the title process, and obviously there are title companies out there that do similar, that are required by the law, but what stands out, how do you stand out apart from other title companies?
Okay, so as far as the law, all title companies have to charge the same amount for the title insurance. It's a promulgated rate. Because the owner's title policy is purchased by the seller is the one who selects the title company. So in South Florida, the buyer pays the title insurance policy, so the buyer selects the title company. So whoever pays the owner's policy is the one who is the required to, or is the one who gets to select the title company. So on a lot of agents have relationships, like Rick and I have a relationship, and he will give you the opportunity to work with me if you have a contract with Rick. But as far as our processes, what makes us stand out, number one, we care. I do take this seriously. I'm supposed to be a marketer, but I really care, and I want to make sure that our process is, I believe our process is head and shoulders above the rest. But so initially, when we get a contract, we reach out to the agents, send out the preliminary ALTA settlement statement. Next step is to reach out to the buyers and sellers to get their contact information. And once we have that information, we're ready as far as requiring additional information. Now, if the seller has a loan, then we'll need a letter of authorization. But
that's for what, the payoff?
Correct, to get the payoff information. But in addition to that, when we get a contract, we order the municipal lien search and also the title search. Title search comes back in about 3 days, and once we have the title back, we know what we need in order to close title. We know what information we need in order to clear title. So the things that we find most often are the payoffs and the estoppels. Those are pretty standard. The estoppel letter, a lot of people are confused by that, and that's the HOA payoff. So it's a statement from the HOA, and it gives a breakdown of if there's any transfer fees. As far as a seller is concerned, if they've prepaid for a portion of it, they get a credit back. So we do that based on prorations as far as settlement date to the point where they close. So the estoppel is a pretty important piece. In addition to that, there's other things that we need in order to clear title. If there's an open permit, most companies title companies do not do the permit searches because it's not a title requirement. And if you run into a title company that does not do the searches, make sure that you ask for that, and you may want to go with another title company that does clear it, because the last thing that you want is for a buyer to have purchased a property with you, and then you find out that later that there was an open permit, because they look at you saying, hey, you were supposed to guide me through the process, and now I've got an open permit that I have to clear. So we will not close a deal if there's an open permit and the buyer is not aware. Now, sometimes it may be late in the process and the seller doesn't have time, so we'll sign a hold harmless so that the buyer is aware, and they'll hold the title company harmless as far as if there's any issues with the open permit. But we do not close a permit without everybody knowing that if there's an open permit. But typically we close permits pretty quickly. As soon as we get the municipal lien search, we reach out to the permitting with the county, and we ask them what we need in order to clear title or clear the permit, and they answer within 24 hours typically. So we're on it, and then we just reach out to the seller and make sure that they're aware of what they need to do, and we work with them to get anything clear.
So let me ask you, what is responsibility of the seller and what's responsibility of the buyer so far as the fees that you just mentioned?
Well,
because I know in the state, I guess it's the state of Florida, or maybe it's just in title general, the seller is responsible for title insurance, correct?
Correct. Well, in Central Florida, in South Florida, whoever buys the owner's policy, and it's based on demographics as far as Florida, whoever purchases that property is the one who selects a title company. So,
So you mean if the seller doesn't have to pay the title insurance if the buyer chooses to pick a different title company?
right. If the buyer chooses a different title company,
Okay.
the buyer will have to pay for the owner's policy.
Okay.
And like I said, in South Florida, in Miami area, the buyer is the one who pays for the title insurance. So it's I'm not sure who breaks it down as far as demographically, but that's kind of how it's in Central Florida. It's the seller that pays the owner's policy.
Strictly, that's our
The
audience, I
seller
think, for the most part, is Central Florida. So
Yeah.
we can be sure about, the title insurance is usually paid by the seller. Obviously, for agents out there that are watching, we know this because it's on the FAR contract on the as-is that says seller will pay for title insurance.
Correct.
So they do get to dictate who the title is.
Right.
So obviously, as a listing agent, we then can choose, like Don, who does an exceptional job. And I know that with the title process, the timeline obviously is still about the 30 to 45 days because it's the same for the buyer's contract, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So when we receive a contract, we look at the settlement date. So we make sure that I like to be done 15 days in advance of the settlement date. Now, if there's some things that may push it out, like an estoppel, it's quarterly, and we're closing it the first of the month, a lot of times I'll tell the seller not to pay their HOA fee, and we'll collect it, and then we'll give them a credit back, so that we're ready. So, our goal is to be, like I said, 15 days in advance. And during the process, we're actually reaching out. I know that a lot of you have closed with other title companies, and you don't even hear from them until the end. I do weekly video updates as far as reaching out to the lender just to find out where they are in the process, and also our process. And I'll send a video every week to buyers and sellers and agents just to make sure the communication lines are open. I'm always available to answer any questions, as well as just let them know where we are in the process. When we receive something, an estoppel, a survey, try to educate with that as well. So when I send it out to all parties, I give a little explanation of what it is and a breakdown of how it works. So that during the process, we like to try to educate buyers and sellers also as we move along through the process.
So obviously, with everybody getting to the end of the year, there's something that we have called Homestead, which I know when I'm out showing properties and talking to my clients, I mention to them about Homestead when it does have Homestead and when it doesn't. And obviously, if it's not a primary resident, it's not able to have Homestead on it. But there's a process there for how does the porting of Homestead work?
Okay, so Homestead exemption is a in the entire state of Florida. It's a piece that the government gives to primary homeowners, and they get a break on their taxes. So as far as homestead, it's $25,000 per person. So a married couple would get a $50,000 tax break off the assessed value. So
Well, let me ask you, because I know the audience out here may be wanting to know. Do you have to be married to get homestead?
no, it just has to be a primary resident. Single person get homestead, they get a $25,000 break, as well if they have any disabilities or any.
So military too, right? You get some kind of discount if you're 100% disabled?
Yeah, as a disabled, so if any disabilities that you have, there's a breakdown as far as the fees that you would pay, so you
Right.
need to reach out to your county property appraiser to find out what breaks you can get, and they'll need some documentation from the government as well, the military or whomever your disability is with,
Yeah.
so that they can do that.
Actually, had a house that I went into contract with, and the homestead on the house was 0. And I told my buyer, I said, well, it can't have homestead on it, right? So we go under contract, and I find out that it was a disabled VA, and my client was able to take advantage of the homestead for the remaining of the year until being reassessed in, what is that, March or January?
Well, I think they come up with the final reassessment in March, April timeframe, but you do not get the trim letter, which is the assessed value of the property, until November. So a lot of times, as a homeowner, you would have gotten a letter that says this is not a tax bill,
Right.
and it's a breakdown of what your tax bill is. And in Florida, you pay the taxes in arrears. So 2019 taxes are not due until 12/31/2020. Although if you pay in November, you get a 2% break on your taxes.
Oh,
So
didn't know
all the lenders pay the tax bills. If you're getting if your property is escrowed, that's the word I'm looking for. If you have an escrow, your lender is paying for your taxes in November, so you get that 2% tax break. But as far as homestead, the advantages of homestead are, number one, the taxes cannot go up more than 3% per year, so you're locked into that. And then you had mentioned about portability. So the way that homestead portability works is they want Florida owners to be able to take advantage of homestead even if they move. So say for instance your assessed value is $200,000, but the market value is $250,000. There's a $50,000 portability amount that you can take to your new property. So it'll take $50,000 off your new assessed value, so that it can go up to $500,000 is the most that you can port. But I don't think many of us are running into that instance. But there are some, I guess, that do. Now, as far as homestead portability and for a married couple, say for instance, if they divorce and they split and they go to different homesteads, each one will be able to port 50% of the prior homestead. And
so
then,
what if you bought a house, or sorry, you had a house and you became a married couple, but your spouse didn't file homestead with you, so you're only showing one homestead, and then you move to a new house, can you then can the one person port over the 100% of the portability?
yes, yeah, you'll be able to port that over, and then you'll also need to reach out to the property appraiser and make sure that they know that you're a married couple, so that you get the additional $25,000 break.
And that's something that can be done pretty simple. Obviously, as your real estate agent, we will be sending out a letter. We'll constantly remind you, because what is the penalty if you don't file your homestead and you happen to purchase a home that doesn't have homestead?
The market value can go up to whatever it is, so
Right.
you're going to be paying, the assessed value will be equal to the market value. So if the market value goes up 50%, then your taxes are going to increase in 50%. And I talked to the
And that's for the whole year, right? That's like for the whole, another year, you'd be stuck paying the homestead or no homestead if it didn't have it, or whatever the homestead is.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So you need to, for 2020 taxes, you need to file homestead by March 1st of 2020, so that you'll be able to take advantage. If you don't file homestead by March 1st of 2020, you're going to have to pay whatever the market value is. Now, I talked to the property appraiser recently, and properties have not gone up in over the last decade more than 3%. They're typically right around 1.5%. And another thing that I learned when I spoke with them is they don't do like pockets, like zip codes. It's the whole county is assessed at the same values. So whatever percentage it goes up that year, every property in Orange County, for instance, that's where we live,
Okay.
all the property values will go up the same. So
is it different based on counties? So like Orange County versus Seminole County?
yes, the assessors go out and they assess the properties.
Okay.
And every county is separate. Now, as far as homestead, it doesn't matter where in Florida you live, you can file a homestead if it's your primary residence. So, and you can port from county to county. You just
Gotcha.
need to make sure that you, when you file a homestead on your new property, there's a section in there that talks about portability. And another thing is, say for instance, you live in a primary residence and you move, but you move into a rental for a little bit of time. Say for instance, you're building a house, so you move into a rental. You have up to 2 years that you can port your assessed value into the new property. So anything after 2 years, you don't get the portability. You can still file for homestead and still get the break.
Okay.
But the portability is a 2 year, at that point it expires.
Okay. Wow, that's a lot of information, guys. I mean, I hope you guys are enjoying the show. Please shout out. Let us know what you think. I want to thank Don for being here today. Again, if you're in need of any kind of title services, you can reach out to Don right here. This will actually be in the video, but Don, your phone number is 407-267-7371.
That's correct.
That is your cell phone,
That's
yeah?
my mobile. You can get in touch
So-
with me anytime, 24/7. I'm always working.
Or you can definitely email him. Even if you're an agent out there that's looking to get a net sheet or something like that, you can definitely reach out to Don. Again, thank you for coming. I really appreciate your business and obviously the support that you give our team. I do want to take a moment to talk just briefly before we sign off. This coming weekend, guys, we're going to be doing Paint the Town Red. Paint the Town Red is something Keller Williams is very big in their charitable contribution in the community. And so we're going to be holding multiple open houses, and I can't ask enough help from the community. If you are able to, we're looking for donations of toothpaste, toothbrushes. This is going to all go to the victims of Hurricane Dorian in the Bahamas. I don't know if you saw my partner and I last week, Diane Rivera. We kind of talked a little bit more about it. Diane kind of explained the times. We'll put something in the link that kind of talks about the times again for this coming weekend, the 21st and 22nd. I believe we're going to be doing it throughout the day. Different agents with Keller Williams will be holding open houses. So you want to be looking at for red signs. They're not always red, so just for what it's worth. But the Keller Williams signs, you want to be looking for it. And that's where you can drop off your items. You can also drop your items here. I'll make sure we put the address in the link below. And then we've started a GoFundMe. Is that right? Did I say it right this time? I used to say it something else. Anyway, a GoFundMe page, and where you can actually donate, whatever amounts of money. We would love to give that money to the victims in the Bahamas, and we'll make sure that it goes to a really good cause, so that those people can have something to smile about, because right now with the situation over there, it's pretty devastating if you haven't paid attention to it. Again, Don, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. Guys, I appreciate you guys listening. Hopefully you are, and we're not just talking to ourselves.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, for sure.
Right. Now, if your title company is not creating raving fans, and that's buyers and sellers, you may want to find another title company. I've, like I said, with the video updates that I do, I get a lot of good feedback. When people come into closing, they know who they're going to meet, and if I'm not there, they're actually disappointed that I'm not there. So I try to be there for every closing. We close remotely. I just closed Saturday at a McDonald's on 50 and
Don, we've done some crazy closings. You've
Yeah.
gone to Starbucks. You've gone to old folks, assisted living home,
Hospital.
hospital. So I know you definitely, as our motto and on the Brown Home Group is going above and beyond, you have done that and do that. So again, I know that, and we appreciate that. Even, he'll do video testimonials with your client, as well as written testimonials. So definitely, you add a different flavor to the title process.
Well, I like to have a small title company mentality, so we have to do what we can to set ourselves apart, and I believe that we do that. So
Right.
I really appreciate seeing you, Rick, here.
Absolutely.
And everyone out there, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah.
And,
Next week, look for Alberto Cruz with GoPro Home Inspections. He's going to talk about the home inspection process. One of my team members, David Hickey, is actually going to be hosting the show, so you want to stay tuned for that. Again, hope you guys have a great week. And if you need any real estate needs, there's the information up there for the Brown Home Group, and one of my team members can help you. And for title services, the information's right above me. Reach out to Don Morris and Security National Title. Make it a great week, guys.
Thank you very much.